I am in conversation with MJ Akbar on the incoming Trump administration and its effect on the globe. So we were talking about what would happen with Ukraine, what will happen with China as far as US is concerned. But the most important question is, how should India see this incoming US administration?
India has to see any administration first from the periscope of Indian interests. And Indian interests are very, I think now under Prime Minister Modi's very realistic vision. Vision has been claimed by many people, but realism
it is not rooted in realism in many cases.
In many cases.
Yeah.
His vision is rooted in realism. And therefore he has created a very significant geography for India's vision. And it is the arc of neighborhood which is the primary arc, which is basically, which includes Quad, which includes West Asia. After all, never forget that the Indian Navy is now operating in the Red Sea.
It does.
Operating militarily.
Yes, it is.
In the Red Sea.
Yeah.
So it is not something that, all paper and no action.
Sure.
So his also, the range of India's interests lie primarily also in the continuing development of India towards an economic goal and towards an equitable economic goal, which can be a reality by 2047.
Sure.
So whatever circumstances and whatever alliances are most helpful towards creation of that economic and equitable horizon will be primarily the drivers of India's foreign policy.
Right.
India's domestic policy and India's foreign policy, certainly under Prime Minister Modi. And to that extent, powers and superpowers will have to fit in also within the Indian framework of India's vision and need.
True.
So we will have to see whether the Trump White House, where its interests match India's interests. One obvious question, which said or unsaid, is that where will a Trump confrontation with China be helpful towards India as a byproduct?
Exactly.
Right?
Some collateral damage or help either way.
Yeah. I think that is not perhaps the best way to look at the situation. India and Washington, India and America will have to find their own bilateral way forward in order to create the most productive relationship. We are not dependent on each other for our other binary.
No, exactly. So, the Russia equation also comes in. India-Russia equation many a times amongst the among the think tankers and the intellectuals in the US. They always try to say that, get away from Russia, which India will not do.
Why should we get away from anyone?
Exactly.
Why do you ask us to get away from Japan?
Right.
Right. I mean, our friendship with India has not meant that we are not part of Quad.
Exactly.
So, this is, it's very foolish to think that India cannot take 2 steps with 2 feet.
Exactly.
Right?
So I suppose
we walk with 2 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think this argument has been put to rest.
Yeah.
And people now recognize India's ability to navigate its way forward, keeping the relationship with all friends in mind.
Exactly.
The good thing about India is that India has not sought enmity, or India has not sought a negativity towards any particular area. India has been very strong in the defense of its strategic interests, in its defense of the terrorist offense, very often manufactured within one neighboring country to our west.
Correct.
And
encouraged by the one on the north.
and in a kind of oblique way, because the north is extremely good friends with the west.
Yes.
India still has the capacity and I think the ability to show that it can deal with the strategic requirements of having some form of a bridge with Afghanistan.
Right, absolutely.
So, it's a non-sentimental approach to policy. Which we have good relations with Iran. Should we, in our pursuit of friendship with America, abandon our relationship with Iran?
No.
We won't.
We won't, and we didn't. Yeah.
And we didn't. Let's be very clear.
Right.
In search of our friendship with Iran, shall we abandon our relationship with Israel? No way.
Correct.
Shall we, in search of our relationship with Israel, shall we abandon our relationship with West Asia, Arab West Asia? No way.
No way. Yeah.
But India is an intelligent power.
Right.
I think that is the term
Which,
that
which is actually fits into what our policies are right now. Yeah.
Exactly. It's an intelligent power which can actually, through the application of intelligence, create a multiple in its capability.